What's up, man? Patrick James here, and I want you to watch this video before you even think about getting another girl's phone number ever again. Cue the intro. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever experienced being in conversation with a girl that you were really attracted to and she seemed actually kind of into you? There was a little bit of a flirty vibe between you guys. And because you didn't want to mess things up, you got her phone number, and as soon as you got her phone number, you dipped out just so you wouldn't mess things up and just so you could end the interaction on a high note, even if you left it early. Well, in this video, I'm going to reveal to you 3 common mistakes that a lot of guys make, especially when they're getting a girl's phone number. And the way I like to think of these are moments in the interaction where a guy is more likely to get a girl's phone number. And if you make the mistake of getting her phone number at these times in the conversation, in the interaction, when you're on a first date, when you approach a girl, when you're talking to her in a bar or nightclub, when your buddy introduces you two together, if you use these 3 moments to get her phone number and then you do the mistakes that I'm going to talk about in this video, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Because here's the thing, man, when you get a girl's number, you should be getting it only as a means to see her again in the near future. And most guys forget this very, very fundamental thing about dating, especially in 2020, is that phone numbers are simply a means to an end, right? Because you can't build a relationship with a girl over text, right? You can try, but I guarantee you it's not going to be near as effective as if you did it in person, right? So understand that texting is a tool to only support your ability to attract her, get her chasing you, and get her to want to date you in the long term. So in this video, like I said, I'm going to reveal to you those 3 common times that most guys get numbers that I don't want you to ever be getting a girl's number ever again, because if you stop doing this, it's only going to set you up for success, and it's going to make her more likely to want to see you again in the near future, especially for that first date after you get a number. So the first time you should not be getting her phone number is if you're in conversation with a girl and you get it as a cop-out. I see this all the time. And one of the examples that I always think of is Matthew, who came to our last boot camp. I actually showed this scene in the documentary where he had an amazing banter session with one of the Raw Dating Advice wing girls, and arguably is probably one of the best banter sessions of the entire weekend. However, at the very end, he felt like he was running out of things to say. He didn't know where to lead the conversation next. And it only lasted about 2 to 3 minutes. And he got this girl to agree to go on an instant date with him to a coffee shop. But rather than just leading her there to the date, or rather than actually getting her number in an attractive way, what he did was he got her number and then said, all right, I'll see you there in an hour, and then left. Now, why did he do this? And why do most guys do this in the real world when they're actually getting a real girl's phone number? What happens is you feel like you don't know where to lead the conversation next. And you feel like in this moment, the conversation is actually going pretty well. So as a cop-out, you say, I'm going to leave this interaction before I fuck things up and before I mess things up. So I'm going to get her number and I'm going to leave as soon as I get her phone number in my phone. Because in your head, you're like, well, if I stay around, then there's probably a high chance that I'm going to say something wrong, or I'm going to mess things up, or she's going to find out that I'm not really this attractive guy that she seems to be attracted to. And so you get her number and you run away as fast as you can, almost like you're running out of a building that's about to explode, kind of like one of those old school Hollywood movies where you're running away from an explosion. Don't do that, right? If you're getting a girl's phone number as a cop-out, then understand that's her cop-out to not even have to think about you any time in the near future, right? She goes, oh, I got his number, I can just talk to him again later. And here's the thing, man, if you're on a date, if you approach a girl in public, if you approach a girl in a bar or nightclub, if you meet her at a party and your friend introduces you two together, the moment you get her phone number simply because you don't know where to lead the conversation next is the moment you kill your chances with her. Because here's the thing, man, when you get her number, like we said, you should only be getting it as a tool to see her again in the near future. But here's the thing, man, you're talking to her right now and she doesn't have to go and you don't have to go. You only got it because you didn't want to fuck things up. So in reality, you were playing not to lose rather than playing to win. Because here's what you don't understand. She's at the party to have a good time. She's likely single. Or if you approach her and she seems interested in you, there's definitely a chance that she'd want to continue the interaction with you. But as soon as you give her the cop out as well as, oh, I can just see him again in the near future, what you're doing is you're adding time to the equation. And if you've ever done any types of sales or anything like that, the more time you add to the equation, aka the more time between the idea and the act of that idea, aka she's attracted to you and then you guys actually go on a date, if you add time to the equation, you're just killing your chances of actually converting the sale or getting the girl to want to see you and continue this interaction with you. So unless you absolutely have to go, or unless you can sense that she's about to go, or unless the interaction is going to end and you have no control over it, you should try to shy away from getting her phone number. Now, obviously there's always exceptions to the rule, but I could dedicate a whole other video to how to get a girl's phone number. And in fact, I've done that many times in the past. So I highly recommend you go back and check those out after this video. So that's the first time that most guys get a girl's number, and they absolutely should not be, is as a cop out, just so they don't mess things up. Which brings me to the second time that you should never be getting her phone number, when you know you will never see her again. When I was on vacation recently, I went to Newport, California, before the whole world shut down, before the whole quarantine, and I had met this girl at this amazing nightclub in Newport, California. And while I was there, I was making out with her all night, and we were flirting back and forth, and there was a lot of sexual tension there. But I was on vacation. I was only there for a business trip, and I knew I was leaving basically the next day. I was about to drive back to Arizona. But at the end of the night, her friend wanted to pull her away. And in that moment, she said, hey, give me your number. You can text me and we'll see each other again later, right? Again, that was her way of saying, I have to go. Let's continue this interaction at a later point. We said that was obviously the goal here. If you guys have to go, then you might as well want to get her number. The only exception to that rule is when you're on vacation, because I knew that the chances of me ever texting this girl and wanting to see her again in the future is slim to none, because I don't even live in the same state as her. So I literally told this girl, I don't want to exchange numbers with you. And she said, what, why? Because this was like one of those things where it takes two to tango. We were both very clearly into each other. But the moment she realized that I wasn't going to exchange numbers with her because I was not going to be in town for much longer, that's the moment that I became a scarce resource. That's the moment that I became a more appealing option for her. And she fought tooth and nail just to convince her friend to let me come with them, just so we can continue this interaction. And it was all because I said no, because I knew that the only reason I should be getting her number is as a tool to see her again in the near future. And in this scenario, this was the only time I was ever going to see her. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And at that moment, I become a very appealing option, because at that moment, you spark something called FOMO, fear of missing out. And if she's already had so much fun with me or you or whatever guy is interacting with her, if she's already had such a good time up to that point and she already wants to continue the interaction, again, the moment you exchange numbers with her, the moment you give her a reason to leave and potentially never see you again in the near future. So if you're ever on vacation, if you know you're never going to see this girl again, there's absolutely no point. And honestly, you have nothing to lose by continuing the interaction and sticking to your guns in that moment. And honestly, man, think about it like this. What types of guys in their life are able to reject a girl? Right? Most guys are not willing to reject a girl because most guys put girls on pedestals. Most guys think, oh, I got her number, I got the goods, I got to get out of here before I mess things up, just like we talked about earlier in this video, right? But the guy who has abundance, the guy who has options, the guy who has women always constantly hitting him up and see him as the prize sexually, he's the guy who is nonchalant, and he can say no if he doesn't see any point in actually going through with this, right? So getting a girl's number is cool, but again, that's just to feed your ego. What really matters at the end of the day is, where does this interaction go from here? Which brings me to the third and final time that you should not be getting a girl's phone number at a low note. And I feel like most guys subconsciously know this. And if you don't, now you do, because here's the thing. The last emotion that a girl feels around you, especially in person, that's going to form her impression of you when you go and text her later on. When your phone number and your name pops up on her phone screen, what's the instant emotion? What's the instant gut response that she has about you? Is it going to be something like, oh, that's the guy who awkwardly asked me for my phone number during the awkward silence? Or is it going to be, that's the guy who spiked all these emotions, made me really want him, made me so turned on around him, and there was a lot of sexual tension, and then for whatever reason he had to go, so we exchanged numbers. I really hope he texts me again. Oh my god, look, he's just fucking texting me, right? You want her to be excited the moment that you text her. So bottom line, remember this: before you get a girl's number, you want to make sure you end the interaction on a high note, and you only do it when you know that you cannot continue this interaction right this second. If you deviate from the path, if you get her number as a cop out, or you give her the cop out of getting your number even though you know you're never going to see her again in the future, then you're actually setting yourself up for failure when you could have succeeded right here and right now. And I don't know about you, but I like to get results right here and right now. So if you aren't already subscribed to the Raw Dating Advice family, then hit that subscribe button. And if you like this video, or if you got any value from this, then give me a thumbs up. And I got a question for you, man. Question of the day. Let me know in the comments below, when is the last time that you got a girl's number, and have you ever made any of the mistakes that we covered in today's video? And also, if you want to throw in there, what was the biggest takeaway you got out of this video, then I would love to interact with you and continue the conversation down below. And like I said, if you are already subscribed to the Raw Dating Advice family, hit that subscribe button. And if you're wondering how to get a girl attracted to you in the moment when you're in person with her, that way when you do get her number, she's eager and ready and waiting for you to text her, and she's really excited to see you get in the near future, then I highly recommend you grab my book, 107 Proven Ways to Get the Girl. It's at howtogetthegirlnow.com. Copies are currently free, so make sure you get your copy before we run out. All we ask is that you help cover the small shipping and handling costs, and we'll ship this book to you anywhere in the world with discreet packaging, of course. So that said, I'm gonna get out of here, man. I will see you in the next video on Thursday. Peace out.